Any questions on what we've covered so far? No, as we say, seriously, we are focused on investing in the next generation today. Was there a time, you know, we were the next generation back in the day. Was there a time where you felt it, where you had a turning point? I was at the first Earth Day back in 1970 in Washington, D.C., and that really motivated me. We were all worried about pollution back then, but now, of course, pollution is important, but it's climate change. What was it for you?
I don't think there was ever one moment. I think this thing happened over a long time. So let me just say, being one of 5 girls in northern Nigeria was, you know, a big deal for us in trying to survive a narrative and a mindset. Unless you have boys in the family, where are you going? So my father was always, you know, Dr. Inua, Mohammed, and tribe. And that was the 5 girls. So I think that first challenge was there. But I think a moment for me that stuck was when I had my first cousin with me. We were the same age, and we were all going to school together. And then suddenly one day she was going home to the village at 12, and we knew that she was going to be married off. And that,
at 12 years old?
At 12. And it was a big shock for me because, you know, it was not evident, but I was wondering why she was not still going to school with me.
Did she ever come back to school?
She did. She came back to, you know, literacy later on in life after many children. And actually I remember thinking, she's so much smarter than I am. And, you know, she could have gone way, way, way ahead. And I think the second dawning factor was as I got into my career, we were designing these incredible hospitals and schools. And then we would collect the fee, but there'd be no money to build the hospitals and schools. And so that was an advocacy moment for me. To challenge and to go to the African Development Bank and say, we need money for this, and to make the case and to finally get that, and to know that we were able to do that, and able to get money into schools and some of the hospitals that we had. And then much later on, I mean, so this is why slow burn, every time you get a cause. Because
slow burn, that's a good expression.
Slow burn, but it's always with a lot of conviction, a lot of frustration that you turn into actions that you take. When I was being made the Minister of Environment in my country, it was received as probably not a good return for the elections. I wasn't in the elections, I was here. And that was very hard. My community thought that I was going to be the dustbin lady. They did not see environment the way we see it and we talk about it today, Earth Day, climate change. So the challenge of changing that and of seeing the link between injustice, conflict, and climate. From the Niger Delta in my country, where the oil industry has made it a huge challenge, to the farmer-herder conflicts that we have because land is no longer available and populations have increased and no one has put the policies in place to ensure that we continue to coexist.
So you got involved with the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs.
I did, but I started on the MDGs. And why? Because we had debt relief in my country at that time, and we were trying to make sure that that debt relief would translate into something meaningful.
So there's this enormous oil industry, right? But the
Yes.
wealth is not shared.
No, it is not shared as it should be. But again, I think this is why Goal 16 of our global goals is so important, is that you have to have governance, you have to have the institutions that ensure that that happens when it comes into a budget or, you know, an appropriation.
So is there a connection between, say again?
Here we go.
Is there a connection between money and institutions?
Absolutely. I mean, who delivers on the money if not the institutions that we build to serve us? I mean, governance is about a social contract between people and those that are governing us, and they do these through our institutions, the health sector, the education sector, the economy is run through a Ministry of Finance. These have to know the responsibility of taking revenue from a country, taking loans from a bank, and how they deliver that to people. So yes, connection.
So what action are people taking? What are we doing? Not what should we be doing? That's a whole nother. What are we doing?
Well, I think we're holding and trying very hard to hold governments and leaders to account. And it's a long journey. It's a long walk, as Nelson Mandela told you his life was spent trying to do that.
Well,
Global goals, the global citizen does that. I mean, this is what we do. These are advocacy moments. These are voices that we amplify. and that we connect with where decision making has to happen.
So can you connect what's happening today with what needs to happen in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, absolutely. I mean, first of all, recognize that we are one world.
First thing is to identify the problem.
Yeah, I mean, well, recognize what we have, because I think if we just begin from the problem, we're never going to get to the solution. Recognize we are one world, we are one humanity, and we've all got equal responsibility, but different division of labor. And for those that have and have not, it's a little more difficult to do, so to balance that. And what do we have for it? In Nigeria, I would say that the framing of the global goals is exactly what we have to enable us move forward with an agenda, to argue for that, to fight for it, from our country's coffers to those commitments that have been made by the international community, never fulfilled in full. To today, when people are rolling back, not just the funding from development and then trying to tell me that, well, you know, girls aren't in school and there's a pushback. There's not just a pushback. There is a failing to invest in those girls and the commitments that have been made. So I think it's many things, and for Nigeria, one of them will be about what's the global partnership about? If these are global goals, what is happening to the partnership? More seriously, we have to fight for the principles and values. When we say we the people in the Charter, we can't leave anyone behind. And today that's being tested. Multilateralism, horrible word, by the way, but international cooperation, the global town hall for our global village, has been challenged on very deep principles and values that we need to stand up and say, no, this doesn't work. We need to lean into that and not lean back. And if I look today at the world, it's pretty angry. But there are many things that we have to protect the future for.
So if I may speak from the soapbox briefly.
Yeah.
My mother was a veteran of World War II. She was recruited by the Navy to be one of the code breakers. She was one of the code girls. And I just talk about this all the time the last few weeks. One of the reasons the Allies were able to prevail in World War II is because they included women. And so when you exclude girls, you exclude women, and you have half as many brains, and in the case of the other side, they lost the war. And so my challenge, we got 5 years to go, right, on the Sustainable Development Goals. Do you have a big idea about how to get us all to embrace the importance of educating girls? Raise the standard of living of girls and women. Everybody is, you know the old saying, happy women and girls, happy life. I think that's how it goes. It's something like that, yeah. So we have 5 years to go. Is there something that you're focused on? You know, I look back when we were the next generation. I think back, we have these pictures. Check this out. Do we have, yeah, there I am, somewhat younger, yes, drinking cream soda. It's nothing better for you. And then you looked like this. No, we're the same people, doggone it. And we were inspired by the same thing, by something that happened a long time ago that continues to drive us today. And so I think about clean water, renewable electricity, access to the internet. What do you think about that we're going to do in the next 5 years?
By the way, that picture was me changing spark plugs in a car, and when people then said women couldn't drive as well as men, we were doing better.
You were under the hood taking care of it.
I was under the hood on a very long journey, and it was in the middle of a dust storm, so that's why the hair is a little off. But what am I doing? Look, I disagree that we need to know more about what we need to do. I think we know.
We all know what we need to do.
We all know what we need to do. So let's just cut to and get to it. We have a great roadmap. It's called the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals. That's the roadmap. We have an incredible vehicle that brings people together everywhere. It's called the United Nations. What we don't have is fuel, and we need fuel. And people should now get into those seats when we go to Sevilla in Spain to negotiate that we need access not to charity, but to investments in development and a life of dignity. So for me, the next 5 years is about putting fuel in the car and getting to that destination as quickly as we can. And we may get there in 2030, not having met all goals, but we won't do it for want of trying. We have to accelerate. We have to make the decision makers that we know that are around not do less, but do more, so that we can get that vehicle.
No, you hit the nail on the head. First of all, you have to be optimistic, people, or you're not going to get anything done. If you go into the game thinking you're going to lose, you're going to lose. And you hit the nail on the head. It's not charity, it's investment. That is the key to the future. Thank you very much, Amina. Let's get out there, people, and dare I say it, change the world.